Huh?
You look a little tired this morning.
Are you gonna lead us?
Just say aye.
You got this. We got 9 o'clock. Let's call this meeting to order. Let's stand for the pledge.
I'll take a lesson from Mary after this meeting.
Okay.
Commissioner Simmons.
Yes.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Jenny David.
Here.
Roger Mayhew.
Yes.
Charlie Wilsey.
Here.
Brenda Simmons. Yes, I'm here. Craig Scott.
Item 2, approval of the agenda. They're going to pull 6A resolution to declare February 9th, 2023 as the Ogama County Kids Day due to the Woodmore Prescott School District being closed today. Any other additions or corrections?
I want to put on the transit. Because I want to talk about board members, the transit, if that's all right.
Would you like to put that under unfinished business?
Yes, that would be good.
Okay,
Well, she'll have committee reports.
correct. Commissioner Simmons,
What?
you want that under unfinished business, or would you like to talk about that under your committee?
I don't,
We'll leave it under unfinished for, is it going to be a prolonged conversation?
no, not really that long.
Okay.
Short.
Okay. Any other additions or any other additions or changes?
No. But after this meeting's adjourned, I have to ask a question to everybody. I can't ask it now. Because it's not part of the commissioner meeting.
Okay.
Who are you asking?
Oh, what you like to know? Sit around and find out.
Who are you?
Any
Are you asking something of the whole board?
additions are correct?
I'm asking even of the whole audience.
Any other additions or
Well, if,
corrections?
but if the meeting's closed, if the meeting's adjourned, you've got to be careful on what.
We'll see what happens when that happens.
No,
Any
you don't
other,
need to worry about it.
guys, any other additions or corrections? Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the change.
We have a motion, Commissioner Scott.
Yeah.
Support from Commissioner Mayhew. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3A, January 26, 2023, regular meeting minutes.
I've read the minutes and I will make a motion to approve them as presented.
We have a motion from Commissioner Scott,
I'll second.
support from Commissioner Wiltie. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say yes.
Yes,
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3B, January 26, 2023, closed session meeting minutes.
make a motion to accept those as presented.
We have a motion from Commissioner Scott,
I'll second.
support from Commissioner Wiltie. Any further discussion? Those were on our, in front of us when we got here. You need to sign those and get those back to the clerk.
Say that one.
Find that.
You need to sign it once you read it and date it and get it back to the clerk. Those are the closed session meeting minutes.
I remember that process. Thank you.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 3C, February 2nd, 2023, Committee of the Whole meeting minutes.
I've read the minutes. I'll make a motion to accept them as presented.
Motion from Commissioner Scott.
Yeah.
Support from Commissioner Mayhew. Any further discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes,
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, public comment on agenda item matters. Any public comment in the room on agenda items only? Any public comment on the phone? Any public comment on the phone? Item 5, we have correspondence from Department of the Air Force related to notice of availability of the final environmental impact statement. Those have been received and filed. Item 6, we have consent agenda. Items B through H.
let's just take them separately.
Okay. Item 6B, we have a resolution to honor the Michigan Association of Counties on its 125th anniversary. This resolution is sponsored by the County Administrator, Tim Delahoney. The State Association of Supervisors of Michigan was formed by representatives of 16 counties on February 1st, 1898, in the Senate Chamber of the Michigan State Capitol in Lansing. The association's name was changed to the Michigan Association of Counties on July 17th, 1969, and is currently the oldest association representing local governments in Michigan. The association's advocacy work in Lansing and beyond has advanced the interest of county governments and the residents they serve. The board commends and honors the Michigan Association of Counties on its 125th anniversary year.
I'll make a motion to approve that resolution.
We have a motion from Commissioner Scott,
I'll second.
support from Commissioner Wiltie. Any discussion on that? I don't remember discussing this in the committee of the whole.
No, it's an honorary resolution and your rules of procedure allow you to just take these up as they are presented.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes,
Yes,
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6C, resolution to approve transportation agreement with My Michigan Medical Center West Branch. This resolution is sponsored by Transit Director Ray Blamer. My Michigan Medical Center has identified transportation as a significant barrier to some patients seeking healthcare. My Michigan desires to engage Ogama Transit to provide transportation vouchers to and from their medical appointments for established patients with transportation barriers. Approval of the resolution will authorize an agreement to create the proposed transportation voucher program. I believe Commissioner Simmons and Commissioner Wiltie were going to touch base with Mr. Blamer on this. Did you guys have the opportunity to? Do
Yes,
yes.
you have anything to add to it?
It's definitely a beneficial item. Mr. Blamer didn't have any issues with it. He says that it's, a process that we've done before with these vouchers and that it works out. So it's something we should definitely stay with.
Is this an annual contract?
Just a second. I can tell you.
And do we have the staff to support this at the transit?
yes, they're doing it now.
Just
Okay.
normal business.
So they are doing it now.
Yes, with other entities as well.
He said that in some months they bill 10 to 15 different entities for different forms of vouchers. So it's just normal business, basically.
That means My Michigan will pay the fare.
The contract and the way it's written would be item number 3 under the agreement. The initial term of the agreement will commence on the effective date and will remain in effect for a period of 1 year unless terminated sooner. It would automatically renew for an additional 1 year, but could be terminated with or without cause up to 30 days notice.
Okay. Can we have a motion on the floor.
you want a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the transportation agreement with My
Second.
Michigan Medical Center West Branch.
Second,
Motion from Commissioner Wiltie, support from Commissioner Simmons. Any further discussion on that? All in favor, say yes.
Yes,
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 60.
pause long enough.
Resolution to approve an agreement for child assessment services. This resolution is presented following discussion at the January 26th regular board meeting. Each year, the board is asked to authorize an agreement for child assessment services. This agreement will allow county personnel access to Northern Michigan's Children's Assessment Center. Professionals trained to assist and support children who are victims of sexual and other assaults and or abuse. NMCAC also facilitates the investigation of these crimes so that perpetrators can be successfully prosecuted. NMCAC will continue to provide services in calendar year 2023 at a total cost not to exceed $5,000.
I'll make the motion to approve this resolution.
We have a motion from Commissioner Scott with support from Commissioner Simmons. Discussion.
Very effective service. I don't mind at all spending the money for it.
I'd like to keep this service in mind with those funds that we discussed at the committee of the whole with the opioid funds. Because I will add on to Commissioner Scott. I agree with that 100%. Any other discussion? Can I get? Oh, we already did. I'm sorry.
should be
Commissioner Scott and Commissioner Simmons. All in favor? Oh, this is,
I should
why
be-
didn't you roll call on this?
Yes, yes, we're
Yes, good.
spending money,
You
money.
know.
huh?
So you do now. Commissioners who want a roll call, you have to.
But prior to that, did I?
We probably should have with the,
Commissioner, Tim, do I need to, excuse me, guys?
there's a very narrowly defined circumstances where you have to do a roll call. Generally, you can just do a voice vote on these, but anytime a commissioner says, I'd like to have a roll call vote, it's compelling. You have to go through with the roll call.
Okay, so it wasn't necessary prior to that.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Subject to change.
Can
Future.
I get a roll call vote, please?
Jenny David.
Yes.
Roger Mayhew,
Yes.
Charles Wiltie,
Yes,
Brenda Simmons.
Yes,
Craig Scott.
Yes.
Item E, resolution to authorize equalization / planning and zoning department vehicle purchase and to rescind resolution 22-45. This resolution is sponsored by County Administrator Timothy Delahoney. On April 12th, 2022, the Board of Commissioners approved resolution 22-45 to accept quotes for purchase of vehicle for use by employees of the Equalization Department and Planning and Zoning Department. Ford Motor Company abruptly canceled the approved vehicle purchase without notice. A 2023 Chevrolet Silverado was subsequently located and available from Fernalia Chevrolet of Rose City that meets the county specifications. Approval of the resolution will authorize purchase of the Silverado at a cost not to exceed $38,210. Approval of the resolution will also rescind resolution 22-45. The abrupt cancellation of Ford Motor Company resulted in an increase of $7,295 in total cost.
I'll make the motion to approve the resolution.
We have a motion from Commissioner Scott,
I'll second.
support from Commissioner Wiltie. Discussion?
Discussion. I thought about this after our meeting, and I contacted Tim. And when I first came on board as a commissioner, I asked why we weren't buying vehicles from local vendors, and it was explained to me about the my deal system. And then I had talked to a couple of the dealers, and they said that they didn't mind at all. It was a big hassle. They didn't make as much money and everything else. So for the last 6 years, I've been fine with going with my deal. Now that my deal has seemed to fail us and we can't procure vehicles through that, and we're looking at doing it locally or outside of my deal, I felt that we should give every dealer in our county an opportunity to bid for a vehicle. And I believe going forward, we should do this if we're not sticking to the my deal. I think we all got an email, and I did, showing that pricing was attained from the other dealerships. I'm fine with going ahead with this resolution, but I think in the future, if we're not going with my deal, and we're gonna go to other dealers, then we need to give our local dealers and all of them an opportunity. That's it.
I agree with that. No matter what, I think all local businesses
You brought it up.
have an opportunity.
You brought it up at the last meeting, and I thought about it, and you were absolutely right, and we should do that. This is not a $500 deal. This is a lot of money. And we should give them the opportunity. If we're sticking with my deal, that's fine, but
There was a pretty big difference too in those quotes. You put them on our iPads,
yes, there was.
and that was truck to truck. That was apples to apples.
You notice a couple of the proposals were for model year 22, but they were new vehicles. So those they had a lower price as well. But no, by and far, this was no question the better opportunity. Although I'm sure the other vehicles are just fine, but when we consider the pricing, this definitely fits our needs, and the price is within reasonable amount of what we originally thought we were going to need to spend.
And appreciate Commissioner Mayhew for taking the initiative on this.
Well,
You got the original bid from Fernelius and reached out to them, correct?
in addition to that, we probably should have did this same thing with the other sheriff's vehicle too. We went outside of my deal, and when as far as out of state,
I asked during that meeting and I was told that we did, and there wasn't anything available.
okay, well, it's just that they have search vehicles and things, search opportunities or ways of searching also. I just think that formally we should do that, so there's no question later on that we didn't, or we omitted somebody. Now, I applaud the sheriff's department for what they did, and that was a lot of work. And I'm glad to see that Officer Better is back safely. Deputy, I'm sorry, deputy, office deputy. I try to keep everything. Thanks, Breck. Mom.
Are you,
correcting me.
are you complete?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Awesome.
Any other discussion on this? Roll call vote.
Roger Mayhew,
Yes.
Charles Wiltie,
Yes,
Brenda Simmons.
Yes.
Craig Scott,
Yes,
Jenny David.
Yes. Item 6F, resolution to accept Michigan Department of Transportation good faith offers. This resolution is sponsored by the County Administrator Timothy Delahoney. The Michigan Department of Transportation has an upcoming project along M55 in West Branch. On January 27th, 2023, MDOT submitted 2 good faith offers to acquire consent to reconstruct sidewalks on property owned by Ogama County. The offers were made in accordance with state and federal regulations governing acquisition of property. Approval of the resolution will accept the good faith offers totaling $600. That should be 2023, correct?
Yes.
Did you were gonna seek out further information? Did you have an opportunity to?
I did, and this, I think we could file under too good to be true almost. They're paying us to fix the sidewalks. Bottom line. The easement that they're requesting is only during the time of construction of the sidewalks. So once they're finished, they're back under our ownership. So MDOT isn't going to own these. The construction year, I think, is actually next year, city project. Okay. So that's, when the construction will occur. Honestly, this is brand new to me. I've never seen MDOT do this before, but I've never been in a position where we've owned property that they wanted to put a sidewalk on. This did get reviewed by our county attorney as well. And again, he's not cautioning to not do it. He says it just looks like a fairly routine thing that MDOT's now doing.
Okay. Can I get a,
I'll make a motion to enter an agreement with Michigan Department of Transportation.
we have a motion from Commissioner Scott,
I'll second.
support from Commissioner Wiltie. Any further discussion on this? Was there any downfall to doing this?
I certainly can't think of one.
Okay. Any further discussion?
This was discussed at the city meeting that I attended. They have many more places where ADA ramps, it's basically an ADA ramp that's longer than what the right of way gives. So they got to come into our property to make that ADA ramp less of an angle. Otherwise it'd be steep, So the city didn't have any issue with it at all. It's practically a lease. They're just leasing the property until they get done with it. And we own it back again. So I don't have a problem with it.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Charles Wiltie,
Yes,
Brenda Simmons.
Yes.
Craig Scott.
Yes,
Jenny David,
Yes.
Roger Mayhew.
yeah,
6G, resolution to accept a quote for additional renovations work at the Annex Building. This resolution is sponsored by County Administrator Timothy Delahoney. On August 11th, 2022, the Board of Commissioners approved Resolution 20-109 to accept a quote from Jack Morris Construction for renovation of the Annex Building. Upon initiation of the renovation project, it was determined that existing light fixtures should be replaced with new energy efficient fixtures. Commissioner Simmons?
I'm sorry. I just want to get something straight.
Okay.
All right.
It was also determined that removal of existing attic insulation was not necessary and that tasks should be removed from the renovation project. Approval of the resolution will allow for installation of new energy efficient fixtures at a total cost of $15,055 and will eliminate $6,935 in costs associated with removal of existing attic insulation.
I'll make the motion to approve this resolution.
I will second.
Motion for Commissioner Scott with support from Commissioner Wiltie. Discussion. I was over there yesterday. Wow. Last night for the 911 meeting. Wow.
Different, isn't it?
It's gonna be a lot better. It's just even walking in there with that paneling being painted. Primed, I guess, is all it is right now, but you can see the light fixtures are starting. Now, I did ask them if they were starting to work at night, because didn't we discuss that at the committee of the whole? And they said they have not.
Okay,
Have you heard anything more on that?
no, other than, the contractor called and asked if they could, and we were absolutely in favor of it. So whatever it is they need to do.
Does Tom have to do any more work there as far as IT stuff goes? We saw the pickup load wire that,
Mhm.
so. Is there any updates? Is there anything that's gonna be going on with Tom too?
I'm sure there will
For the
be.
internet?
Looks like they're just starting that aspect of it. I mean, everything was kind of bare bones last night.
Yeah, it's pretty bare.
Yeah, it is. Okay, any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Brenda Simmons.
Yes.
Craig Scott,
Yes.
Jenny David,
Yes.
Roger Mayhew,
Yeah.
Charles Wiltie.
Yes.
6H, resolution to appoint members to the Construction Board of Appeals. This resolution is sponsored by Building Inspector Brian Stein. Section 14 of the State Construction Code Act requires creation of a Construction Board of Appeals consisting of not less than 3, no more than 7 members. Members are appointed to 2-year terms and must be qualified by experience or training to perform the duties of members of the board. The terms of all current members have expired. Approval of the resolution will appoint licensed builder Mike Page, licensed electrical contractor Bruce Beach Jr., and licensed engineer Tim Lapham to the Construction Board of Appeals for terms to expire December 31st, 2024.
I'll make the motion to approve this resolution.
I'll second.
Motion from Commissioner Scott with support from Commissioner Simmons. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, new business claims. I'm kind of confused on this total.
Why is that?
There's what's the
Because-
total here?
There was an expense form turned in that there were some expenses that shouldn't have been reimbursed on there.
Okay. So the total is 195,324.27.
Yes.
324.
195,
Yes.
324.27.
Okay, I believe Commissioner Scott and Commissioner Simmons reviewed claims.
Yes, we,
That's
You want
true.
to take the floor, Commissioner Simmons?
we've just pulled one voucher. That's why the total has changed. I didn't see anything that was out of the way in these claims this year. I don't know if Mr. Scott did or not.
Commissioner Scott?
No, we just had, we had billing from Circuit Court, Roscommon, shared costs there. $45,000. We had some state of Michigan costs that were up there. Nothing really extraordinary. There was a couple of questions I had for the administrator. I mean, we're looking at it, but nothing pertinent. I'll make a resolution to pay the claims. Approve the claims.
We have a motion from Commissioner Scott,
I'll second.
support Commissioner Wiltie. Is there any further discussion or questions on claims? None? Roll call vote.
Jenny David,
Yes.
Roger Mayhew,
Yes.
Charles Wiltie,
Yes.
Brenda Simmons.
Yes.
Craig Scott.
Yes.
Item 8, unfinished business, the transit. Commissioner Simmons, you have the floor.
With transit, we have a 3-member board right now. It's 2 commissioners and Mr. Blamer, who is the manager of transit right now. And we want to add 2 more members to that board. And the current members on the board would like to be able to take names and interview these people before we put them on the board. We just don't want to take somebody off the street. We want to look at who they are first before we do that. So we would like to have 5 members on this board versus just the 3 of us. I think we'd have a lot more input and a lot more discussion, good ideas.
So what are your thoughts on other 2 members? Are you, anybody in the county? Are you looking for a specific area in the county? Are you looking for, what are you guys looking for?
Well, I had somebody, I brought it up at the West Branch Township meeting, and there was an individual that was interested, who has worked for transit for 26 years. He's been retired for 12 years now. And he said you'd be interested in that. So I think we need to look at who wants to be on the transit and committee and who would be the most knowledgeable about what goes on with transit, how it operates. Or just somebody that's in the field of transportation, really. You know, like over the school, there is a manager of all the school buses, and that's transportation, although it's totally different than what transit does. There's just some ideas out there. I'll let Mr. Wiltsey add anything to that if he'd like to.
Yes,
Mr. Wiltie?
so I feel it'd be great if we had a resident of the county that uses our transport system. I mean, obviously, this resident would have to be willing to put the time and energy into this. I'm gonna ask Ray for some names, some people that he, would possibly maybe suggest, or maybe even he could talk to his drivers and they could suggest someone who's consistently riding our transit, and seems to really care. I also believe Commissioner Scott, we had some people that would possibly be interested. Tell us about that.
I have a name. I've asked him to go on a county website, put his submission into the committee. On that same thing, I would suggest that the director be an adjunct member or an additional, not a member of the committee. At the airport, the manager is not part of the committee. At 911,
They're not,
the
right?
manager is not part of the committee. They are a wealth of information, yes, but if you're doing voting and things like that,
They can't.
they're an information source. I think that'd be my suggestion. Still, 5 would be a good number. That's all I got.
Yeah, I brought it up at my townships as well, as far as you guys forming a committee and looking for possible residents in Ogama County. I think another area is to look at the population, and like Mills Township is a huge population. Like what areas does the transit serve?
And we're looking at three more members then.
Population wise, and definitely pull an individual from that area. I think would be extremely important.
All the areas where they.
Extremely important as well. I wonder if they're able to get that information as far as what area, more specific, what area utilizes the transit possibly the most. I know over where I work, they utilize the transit a lot.
I know they do.
But I agree with
City too.
Commissioner Scott.
I did.
Mr. Blamer shouldn't be a committee member. He should definitely be present for the meetings, but not an actual member. So now, is this posted yet where individuals can get on and put in?
This is the first I'm
This is the
hearing of
first
it.
we've talked about it.
Although I will say that one application was received this morning, which was a surprise. I wasn't sure exactly what we were doing. So anyway, that's
Yeah, we
here.
better look at that afterwards.
You can. Just a few comments, though. This puts the transit committee into a different category if we do this. And I'm not saying it's hard or that it's in any way should be a detriment. But I think this needs to come up at the COW meeting next week, and we'll go through some of these details. Couple of things, I'll just based on what I just heard. Under no circumstance should the committee appoint its own members. And I will be very strongly recommending that this board appoint the members to the committee. So that's, you don't have a standing committee appointing its own members, doing its own thing. I'm going to strongly suggest that you put together a very short set of rules that this committee operates under. The committee should not have final decision-making authority on anything. Any decisions that have to be made need to come back to this board and be made here. But like that, so there are no misunderstandings about the role of the committee and how it's going to function. Also, I want to take and I certainly will have this done by next week, take a look at any state or federal requirements for any advisory committees. Sometimes when you get federal monies, they want, there are going to be standing committees or advisory committees that want a certain structure. So I'll make sure there isn't anything like that. And if there is, we'll talk about it next week and talk about how we make that happen too. So just a few things, but I think committee as a whole will be a great place to have that discussion. I think we can knock it out in pretty short order. But if those things aren't in place now, that my experience has been we can have, I don't want to say a committee going rogue, but misunderstandings about the roles and responsibilities of the committee. And that does tend to create hard feelings when that happens. So this will eliminate that right at the start.
Great.
So we'll put on this on the committee of the whole. Any other new business? Or excuse me, unfinished business. Number 9, administrators report.
Okay, a few things. First, we're very excited to see that the opioid settlement money did reach our accounts yesterday. There was a brief holdup. We followed up with distributors, the fund distributors, about what was happening, and I went back and checked our original information. Want to make sure all of our routing and account numbers were correct. But the first thing that popped up was a question whether we wanted to designate those funds to go somewhere else. And as soon as I clicked no on that, the funds arrived here. So that seemed to be what the holdup was. Don't know why we would ever want to designate those funds to go somewhere else, but okay, they're not, they're coming here and they are here. Just as a matter of keeping the board informed, I did have a brief meeting yesterday with a township trustee. I was able to provide just some sample guidelines, the township in question. And again, I'm only hearing from one person, but they seem to be, they would benefit greatly from just some standard rules that they understand in terms of, in this case, and deal with appointments and how appointments occur and how people are taken off commissions. So on. So I think a good set of rules of operation for that township would be very helpful to them. Obviously, it's their call whether or not they want to do it, but I did provide them with a copy of our rules of procedure as a foundation to begin those conversations. And hopefully they'll take that up. I believe things would run more smoothly if they had those rules in black and white and there were no questions about what roles each individual has and which role their appointing committees have, and right on down the line. But hopefully that won't create any backlash, just trying to be helpful. Had a email exchange with the county attorney based on a question that Commissioner Wiltsey brought up, and that concerned the standing committees and minutes. My understanding was, and I think it's still true, those standing committees aren't making any decisions independent of the board, a number of things that would suggest that, well, maybe minutes didn't need to be taken. However, that's up for debate. There's still standing committees. We do post them according to what we need to do with the Open Meetings Act. And rather than even diving into this any further, the attorney pointed out properly that Section 8.5 of the Rules of Procedure require a written record of what our committees are doing. So to meet that requirement, we'll assign Kelly to go to the committee meetings when they occur. And if she can't, I will go and the notes will be taken. And I want to do it this way because as a participant, commissioners participating in these committee meetings, it's hard to take notes while you're participating. It will definitely mess up the momentum of conversation. In this way, you don't have to worry about having to turn your notes in so that they're recorded someplace. We'll take care of that too. So it'll all be taken care of and we can distribute them to the entire board after the meeting. So that I think will also help with the communication. So rather than dive into whether or not we have to, the rules kind of say we do have to. So we'll do it and we'll make sure it happens. And we'll even put another folder on the iPads so that you'll have a record going back. So if you ever need those, so we'll take care of that. I want you to know that the resolution you passed to appoint members to the Construction Board of Appeals brings to a close a project that's taken me 3 years to finally get to. And it's all of our appointed committee members are up to date. We have been operating with expired committee members and so cases like the EDC, we didn't even know what the terms were supposed to be. But with the Construction Board of Appeals, you've now completed that process. We'll update the list of committee members that you have on the iPads after today's meeting. And you'll see, which resolutions and what the terms of office are and so on. And this also is, I think, a great opportunity, a great resource for us. I'm very seriously contemplating inviting our county attorney back sometime in the spring to do an Open Meetings Act session. And all of our members really should attend so that they understand what it means to be in an open meeting. When can you go into closed session? And in the case of our appointed committees, they should never be going into closed session unless they're conferring with the attorney, with the approval of the board here to do that, but I can't think of a reason why in most cases our appointing committee should ever go into a closed session. But just a primer, and then we can invite township officials if we like, but I'd really like to target our groups so they understand what those ground rules are. And I think it would be just, very good hour spent by everybody. So we now have this complete list. We'll be able to pull that together pretty easily. And the last item, I just want to give particularly the claims committee a heads up. The next time that you meet to review claims, there is going to be a bill in there from a law firm for a little over $15,000. Recall, you won't, 3 members won't, but 2 members will recall that we are involved in a case, it's called Fox versus Ogama. And this is a case where we and every other county in the state has been challenged on delinquent taxes and how those taxes are collected and what's fair and what should former property owners receive as compensation. That case is ongoing, and rather than switching legal firms in midstream, we decided we would allow Melinda Balian and Greg Meehan to continue with that case through its end. And they still think that was a very wise choice. Greg and Melinda, however, changed law firms back in April. And at that point, and I didn't realize that we quit getting invoices from them. And for some reason, they no longer remembered our address or emails or anything. And so this $15,000 represented 8 months worth of work that was done. And you'll see in that invoice, exactly the breakdown of the hours and what was spent and so on. And then it's a pretty complicated case. It's gone to the U.S. Court of Appeals at the 6th Circuit. It's been remanded back to the locals, and it's just all sorts of things going on with it. So you'll see the complications in there. I have put a call into the billing department of their new firm. That's out in California, and I just haven't seemed to make contact with them. Gone ahead and authorized that bill. So you'll see that in claims and you'll see that spike. And that's the explanation for it. I think our auditors will have fun with it too, because it's mostly fiscal year 22 where these costs were incurred. So there'll be some accounting acrobatics that'll have to be done to make sure that that's addressed appropriately. We also received 2 other invoices from the firm for things that frankly, I think belong to the city of West Branch. So again, I'm trying to clear all those up. You don't need to know the grief that places on us, but we'll get that taken care of too. But just a heads up to know that you're going to see that $15,000 spike at the next round of claims.
Anything else?
No.
Any questions for Tim?
I do. Regarding that, the Fox deal. So how long has this been going on, and is there any either the ending of this? Because this seems like this is just an expense that all counties in the state are taking this on right now.
Yeah, it's been going on for about 5 or 6 years. It's a pretty significant case. Where it stands right now is, I believe we're going to see legislation probably this year that will be the result of any settlement that comes from this case. Obviously, the plaintiffs want to see the counties return monies to anybody who's involved since the beginning of time. And what's going on here is that when a piece of property goes out for tax sale, obviously the county wants to receive, and it's handled through the treasurer, the county wants to receive at least that amount of taxes owed in a bid. A lot of times, these properties that come up will attract more money than what is owed to the county. And it's that surplus that really is the crux of this. There is a contingent out there that believes that surplus should go back to the property owner. Well, the property owner at the time is the county, because the county has possessed the property. But what they're saying is, no, the person who owed the taxes, they invested in this property all these years. If there's any surplus, they should receive that. So right now, there's just a determination that needs to be made about how far back does this go. I've heard 3 years, I've heard more or less, and we'll see where that all ends up. Bottom line is, it's going to upend the way those surplus monies are dealt with across the state. Now, the counties have argued all along that this isn't a county rule. These are state statutes that we're having to enforce as an agent of the state. So really, if there is anything that be paid back, it should be the state that pays it back. I don't know if we'll ever get traction on that argument. It's just frustrating, though, that when we have 83 county treasurers who are in compliance with what the law is and what they were told to do are now being told, well, we decided that that wasn't the right way and you're going to have a penalty for that. That's just a tough pill to swallow. But that's why we have courts and a legal system that can sort all that out for us. And once it is, I think it will be resolved probably this year, but a lot of nuance, a lot of questions about, even can they be a class action, which I think has been resolved, but we'll see. A lot of filings back and forth. So like I said, hopefully this will be the year where we get it behind us, but stay tuned. And I'm sure that we'll continue to get updates from Melinda as things happen.
Just one more question. So we just spent $15,000 for the last 8 months of their work, 8 months. So every county in the state, I would imagine, is paying the same.
Sometimes more, sometimes probably less, depending on the size of the county and the amount of property that they have involved. Just a little bit of history. A lot of this started out of a case in Oakland County. The back taxes owed on the parcel that triggered all this was somewhere south of $9. Well, the individual involved had the resources to say, I don't like this, and here we are today, literally millions of dollars, not only millions into it, but billions of dollars that are being discussed about where they should go and what refunds should be had. So it's just interesting, something so small, how it could blow up and involve every county in the state the way it has.
We add up these legal fees by the amount of counties in our state. This is big money.
It is, and fortunately, a lot of counties have been able to work with the same firm. Our firm is working with that firm that's sort of taking the lead across the state. So I think there's been some efficiency there, but yeah, this has been quite an ordeal. That's $15,000 for those 8 months. Like I said, it's been going on for about 5 or 6 years. So even in our case, it's more than 15,000 when we get to the end of it.
Commissioner Scott, I think you had something.
Yeah, to expound on some of what Tim has said, in the last few years, we've really found out a lot of things that we've been doing wrong. Just point blank wrong. I mean, I've been on Parks and Rec for 6 years now. We went to the commissioners back 5 years ago and asked them for autonomy. Give us autonomy, give us the chance to spend the money we want to spend on the projects we want to spend and everything like that. Well, it was totally wrong. I mean, we were told that that's okay. There was people here telling us that's okay, you can do that. But if you read the law, you can't do that. And appointments to committees, and yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we had appointments that were old. We didn't even know who was on committees. We didn't know how long they were on committees. There were so many different things. We've set up so many different procedures over the last few years. It has really helped us. Look at the meeting procedures. It's helped you, Jenny, run a meeting. Public comment down to 3 minutes. Certain things, topics. We adopt
Commissioners speaking when they're supposed to.
that too.
Go ahead.
That too. Okay, but we adopted that at the planning commission, and I can tell you, Dan Donalewski is on the planning commission. When we get those hot topics and there's 50 people in the room, we adopted that policy, and we were able to keep the meeting under control. And otherwise, you're into 11 o'clock at night, people screaming back and forth across the room. It's procedures that govern organization. And we didn't have that before. I mean, I think Commissioner Simmons can agree with me on some of the things that were happening years ago. The inmates are running the asylum. We were told bullied by some department, by some elected officials, that we had nothing to do with the budget. That's the primary responsibility of the commissioners, is to manage the budget. So procedure, policy. I think Commissioner Simmons understands this totally, coming from a military background, right? Had a rule on everything.
Yeah, but no, sometimes you can bend those rules without breaking them.
Well, yes, sir. At least you got a rule, So, I'm glad that you went over this stuff and it's really been working the last few years. It runs so much smoother here. When I first came here, I gotta tell you, people just walk down the hallway, wouldn't even look at me, let alone say hello. Now, it's like, geez, people come up and ask me questions. You know, a lot better. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay,
I'll reserve time for later.
we got item 10, elected official and department head reports. Clerk,
I don't have an update.
treasurer,
My financial reports are on your iPad.
receive those, thank you. Any questions for the treasurer? Sure,
Just a couple of things. Good morning, all.
good morning.
Morning.
Got your updated monthly report for the jail. Our animal control truck is back from Boston. It's all striped up, got the box on it. It's out there for you guys to look at. Also, into travels, I'm gonna show you a picture. I tried to download this. I couldn't do it. Just gonna show you the picture real quick. That's a 20-foot enclosed trailer. Still there? 20-foot enclosed trailer that we got free.
Oh, I could use that for storage.
Yeah, we got that from Army surplus, free. Donated to us. Chris picked it up on the way back in getting this truck. We're gonna use this enclosed trailer for our gun range people. We're gonna put all our targets in
Seems like a
there.
short range.
No, but anyway, we're gonna do that. So we gotta keep on loading all our equipment. We're gonna load that up. We're gonna drive that to the range when we have to qualify. My thought is we're gonna put a canopy on it. So we can drive it up there, have tables under, so if it's raining, we're not gonna get wet while we're doing our things with our guns. So we're working that way, but it was free and it's got brand new tires on it.
You know, building puts that inside to keep it out of the weather.
Right? Anyway, we're gonna put shelving units in there. I'm gonna just turn it over to the range guys and they're gonna equip it the way they want, so. So thanks, Chris, for picking that up for us. We appreciate it. The only other thing, LE meeting, do we want to have that after this meeting?
We have to check the posting, what it says for time.
Okay, I think it would have one.
Yeah, if
Is that one?
it is one, then we'll have to adhere to that
Okay. all right.
or cancel. One and two.
I'm good with it if you guys are good with it.
We're good. I know Paul said he's not gonna be able to make it.
Yeah, he's not gonna be
We
able
can still,
But I can,
We don't need Paul there.
providing I don't get called out on all these cars in the ditches or whatever, so. And that's all I got.
I had some, I seen the jail report and I see you guys are gonna go with Myers Pharmacy now.
I believe so. We have to do it and that's the cheapest and.
I'm sure.
it's good.
I appreciate looking. The other thing is this prescription NT, which I'm not familiar with, but there's a pretty big savings there as well that looks like Mr. Ozier looked into and found. And then I seen Kalkaska inmates. Are we inmating Kalkaska now?
Do you have an update on that, Kalkaska?
It's not been finalized, it's still being discussed this. House Calcasas.
It says which is good. It says we house 3 bed days served from Kalkaska inmates.
Says what?
We serve, in the month of January, the Kalkaska inmate we house combined for a total of 3 bed days served.
I don't believe that's part of the final contract. I know there's. The last emails that I saw went back and forth, the contract went back. Calcasas, I believe, for sure. Waiting for that to come back, I'm for sure.
Oh, because it looks like we're housing one of them, which is a good thing. And weren't we temporary housing, was it Gladwin County? Are we still doing that or no?
No, they're back.
They're back up and running? Okay.
That's all I got. Be careful going home.
Are you
Slick.
Any questions for the sheriff?
entering a standard agreement with Meyer? Are we signing anything?
Yeah, it looks like they did. According to this, it didn't give any, we left the meeting and believe that Myers takes on our pharmaceutical needs. We will,
Does that come to the Board of Commissioners?
If there's a contract, it will.
Okay.
Could be
Be the whole of the one with the see, the online pharmacy, I think, for lack of another word.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
it.
on the meeting next week.
Yeah, and I'll try to get Ozier here to explain everything, but he's done a lot of research on it, and Myers was willing to work with us and a lot cheaper. Yeah,
Well,
it sounded very good, so I don't know the ins and outs of it, I'll turn that over to Ozier.
Yeah, if you could get here and tell us.
Yeah, I'll see if he can be here for us.
Sure. Ozier might not be available, but he's talked to me and briefed me. Committee of the whole, we will have discussion as far as that online.
Mhm.
Discussing. We'll also discuss where they're at with Meyer and the information that we're getting. That'll be at the committee of the whole.
We'll update you.
Just talking local, can we just make sure that he has checked with numerous, I can't say all, but numerous local pharmacies, just to make sure
Correct.
that we're doing things
Yep.
okay, correctly?
And I want to say one thing about that, my deal, we just have to, I'm all about buying locally, for sure.
oh, yeah, yeah,
But
no
the
doubt.
only thing we got thrown here is the police package, you know, we have to look at that.
Oh, that's white, isn't it?
No.
Oh, geez.
Anyway.
Thank you, sir. Any other elected official department heads in the room? I don't think so. On the phone, I think I see Mr. Nichols. Do you have anything, Jeff?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
No, I don't have anything today, but we probably will be moved into the state police by the end of the month. So I got equipment being hopefully delivered today. And then Tom's gonna work on getting that set up either today or tomorrow. It depends on whether it gets delivered today or not, but we should be in by the end of the month.
So are you guys up and running at your new location?
We have equipment there. We're not working out of there yet. We've started moving our stuff over there. We're probably halfway moved out at the moment. Reconstruction over here has kind of helped us get that started. The VFW, DAV and 103, they're already in there. They're moved in and doing their thing, but we've started the process of getting our stuff over there. So by the end of the month.
This hasn't interrupted services at all, has it?
No, not at all. It's a little noisy, but no, it hasn't interrupted anything.
Okay, because I've recommended your services to a few people lately.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that one.
I've recommended a few individuals your way lately, and I actually told them to go to the new location. Whoops.
Yeah, unfortunately, they won't find us there, so they'll knock on the door and won't be able to get in yet, but we're working on getting the new door handles in. Our VFW has got a guy there that he's getting that taken care of. Because the doors are, with the state police, those doors weren't never unlocked without a key, and they removed that kind of stuff out of there, so they're kind of permanently locked, so you can't access them. But we're working on getting that changed so it's easier access. Still don't know about the ramp. We haven't been able to get in contact with the gentleman that was going to do the ramp for us. Wintertime, I don't expect it to get done anyways, but as we move into the spring, we'll probably get the ramp installed in the front.
Thanks, Jeff. Any other department heads or elected officials on the phone? Item 11, any matters from the floor, commissioners? Item 12, motions for adoption. I don't believe there are any. Item 13, committee reports. Commissioner Simmons.
Okay, had a transit meeting, yesterday, and that's gonna be on committee as a whole for board members. That was discussed, and we discussed also, fares, the price of riding the bus. Nothing's in concrete. The Starbucks Plaza is now filled. All those spots there by Starbucks is rented. They have people going in there. And M30 Access evidently has merged with Point Broadband, is that correct? You know about that?
Only because I got an email with a funny name on it, but I recognize the representative who's been here before. His name is Mike. So yeah,
Yep.
kind of found out that way.
And they're going to be putting, cable throughout, various parts of, Ogama County, so people have access. Um, the Planning Commission in West Branch Township, they, just put on Mark Beck as a member of the Planning Commission. Trinity Road's gonna be gravel and ditched from Campbell Road to M33. That was put out. And I haven't been to Edwards and Horton Township. I won't be there until February 13th, so nothing's happened there. Went to the NEMSCA meeting. It was at Treetops and Gaylord. Very interesting, very complicated. They do much more than I anticipated that they do. And I think they have a very good board. They're very thorough. And I was surprised that Pete Henry was the chair of that, so it's fun seeing him again. So he used to be a commissioner here. And they gave me another computer. I can't handle this one. That's not enough. So it's in the closet. So
Come out of the closet.
nothing important on it. And I will not be here for the committee as a whole meeting on February 16th. I'll be in Lansing. That's pretty much all I have.
We attended an insurance committee meeting, you and I did.
Oh, that's right. That's yours.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Commissioner Mayhew,
I didn't want to take everything.
Commissioner Mayhew,
Tower.
Hmm?
Tower.
Oh, yeah. They're gonna be putting another tower on the corner of, I think it's Peach Lake Road and M55.
South of Peace, like somewhere there.
Yeah, it's gonna be on the, southeast corner, I think. There's a tower on the southwest corner right now. And this tower will be taller. So that's going through their, board right now too, this new tower. Forgot about the tower, thank you.
Commissioner Mayhew,
I went to the Commission on Aging and young people had a lot of, I guess, medical questions. So I got a hold of the health department lady and got them two talking and maybe they'll get it straightened out.
related to,
Marijuana.
and Commission on Aging?
Okay. We were all young at one time.
Can you elaborate just a little bit?
No.
Okay, that's fair.
Obviously, keeps you charged in, you know?
Should we be nervous?
They look at me because I'm a kid. I'm the youngest one there. I know nothing.
Okay, is that it?
That's it.
That's, okay. Commissioner Simmons?
Another comment on Commission on Aging. I went out there, because a friend of mine works out there and I didn't realize that. Anyway, comment was, that facility may be a, facility that's used in, if there's a crisis in Ogama County.
Yep.
And,
Disaster, you mean, right?
Hmm?
A disaster
yes,
shelter?
and crisis disaster, kind of the same thing.
You got it. Sorry.
Thank you. That's fine. No, I like the word more letters than disaster. Anyways, their comment was they would need a generator and wanted to know if the county can help with that since it would be a county disaster area building. So I just wanted to let you know that was brought up and maybe we should talk about that as a committee as a whole. A generator for the Commission on Aging building on M43.
I believe that was on our ARPA wish list. I think Commissioner or Mr. Serbrook had brought that to us, and there's been some communication with Mike Bowers, our emergency manager. Trying to find some funding for that as well. So it doesn't sound like anything further has happened at this point in time, but
Can you talk to the emergency, Tim, could you talk to them to see if he's found anything yet? Because I think, you know, they can cook out
There should
there,
be
they
some
can provide
funding
meals
for
out
that.
there and stuff like that.
absolutely. Anything else?
No, that's all, just.
Nothing else, Commissioner Mayhew? Okay, Commissioner Wiltie.
Before I get into my question for Commissioner Mayhew, You were saying at our last meeting before, the Commission on Aging's vehicle, their transport vehicle broke down.
But they tell me tranny's bad.
How are they delivering food to our residents?
Don't ask me. That's what they told me at the meeting. They got a new truck supposedly coming. They have a title, but no truck. And maybe it's just slipping and they're still driving it. I do not know that, but they should transfer that.
Have to get that one.
Okay, a number of my committees are still coming up this month. Kind of to touch base on transit, I know we've talked about that quite a bit. One of the big things that we've seen in our few meetings with them and talking with, especially some of my constituents in Mills Township, they really want to see the Saturday service. So we continue to talk about that with Ray. He's had two applications that came through doing their testing, has had a few stalls with that. I believe Ray was going to speak with you, Jenny. Did you talk?
He did. He
about-
called me last night and I'm talking to my upper management to see if there's something we can do, which I believe there is moving forward.
That's good to hear. So the most important thing from what we're hearing is the Saturday service. We're still shooting for April 1st. Hopefully these two new drivers will come along and they'll be able to get in working. We're still shooting for that. Kind of like Commissioner Simmons said, one of the big, not so much downfalls, but a problem that's taken a lot of time and energy amongst the drivers, the dispatch, is the way we're billed. We're billed a set rate plus mileage. Looking at local counties, no one else does that. According to Ray, we're the only transit in the entire state that still bills per mile. So Ray's going to get us some information. I've started working on a small formula that I'll share with everyone to kind of see if we did do a fixed cost geographically throughout the county to make sure we don't want to lose money, but if we can make it easier on everyone, it's something that we're going to look into. We're just looking into it. One other item, emergency management. Had a real good talk with Mike Powers yesterday. I feel we're very fortunate to have Mike. He's our county emergency manager. He's recently brought on 6 different individuals that all have different specific scopes of work dealing with different types of disasters. And these individuals also are good to offer training and education to volunteers or people within the county that are helping these different emergency programs that Mike's putting into place. CERT program is one. That's, of course, have volunteers in case we have a large disaster to assist our local police, county, EMS, fire. Mike is, I believe, on the agenda for next week. He's going to come talk to us, or he was going to get with you to talk to us about some programs. So that's all I have.
Commissioner Scott?
Yeah, I attended the city of West Branch meeting the other day. They had both their DDAs and planning commissions there for annual updates. A lot of different projects on the slate. What's pertinent to us is the West Branch District Library sent them a letter asking their support to send a letter to us asking us for the money, like we've gotten letters from other townships. It was brought up by one of their council persons that library took away the TIF money for the DDA in the city. And that there was quite a reaction from that. And so as a result of that, no action was taken at the meeting at all. They didn't have to move to not do it. And they didn't make a motion to do it. So there was no action taken on that at all. So I thought that was something that's pertinent to us because they're trying to solicit from us the library. They had a lot of business they took care of. It was a longer than usual meeting. The mayor pointed that out during the meeting. And they're going to close the men's room and make one unisex bathroom up front.
Where's this?
Where?
How about that? At City Hall. City Hall now.
West Branch,
Yeah, West Branch City Hall, yeah.
you guys better sit. with
So I
me.
guess,
That's all I gotta say.
yeah, the toilet seat, level of the toilet seat was a major issue in that decision. That took up most of the conversation. How does it open and close? And who's got that responsibility?
So they're renovating the bathrooms to make it one. The
Yes,
bathrooms need.
well, they're running, they need more storage, so,
Okay.
and their occupancy level within those restrooms are pretty low. They
What are they gonna do with the old restroom?
Storage.
use it for storage,
They need storage.
storage.
So they're making 2 bathrooms, 1 and storage room.
I got it.
Yes.
And when you sprinkle, when you tingle, you better clean it up.
Okay, is that it, Commissioner Scott?
Just, you mean a better aim?
Commissioner Scott, is that it?
No, I attended my township, Ogama Township, I'm on the planning, committee. We had a, speaker from, Beckett and Rader engineering firm come in, and we applied for a spark grant from the DNR to, improve our park up around the Mineral Springs, up in the Ogama Springs area. So he was there, very informative, a lot of information there. I'll be able to use a lot of that information in our Parks and Rec meetings. We did have a Parks and Rec meeting. We didn't have everybody there. We were able to have slim, but we were able to have a quorum. Both of our parks managers were there. We went over some projects at the RV park. And some of them are gonna be costly. We'll have to take a look, probably like more electricity onto the lots and things like that. So retrofitting. So we may be into RFPs and stuff like that. So but everything right now is going good. We're getting a lot of reservations coming in for the RV park for the next season. And I think I already reported that all our seasonals are reserved and paid for, all 10. And that concludes the meetings that I attended so far. I'll have Foster and Ogama Township next week, airport next week, that kind of thing. Of course, Breckenthal, it's about the airport meeting when it comes. Oh, Commissioner Wiltsey was able to stop by our airport. And I think he'd tell you that he's pretty impressed with it.
Good.
So, and they have a very, they're getting the Facebook page more active. There was pictures of airplanes on it yesterday. Ben says that he's gonna try to put more video in and try to get any new aircraft that comes in, things like that. The last meeting, Breck and Tracy were there. Tracy had never been to the airport. And so afterwards, I was able to give her a tour of the airport, and then she wanted to stop by Transit and see that too. So it was really worthwhile. And that particular day, a helicopter came in for fuel, and it was the state police. They were traveling from north to south, and they just stopped for fuel. And that's what our airport has become. We sell our fuel for a few pennies less. We're an airport gas station sometimes. I mean, they come in, it doesn't have to be manned. We have an unmanned kiosk out there. They pay right there, both jet fuel and airplane gas. But we get quite a few of them. Last fall, I was there in a helicopter full of farmers from Seawing flew in just to get fuel because they were flying up to go bird hunting in Mile. So it was just interesting. I got a chance to talk with him, and he says, yeah, we'd stop here and get fuel. I said, it's not in Mile. He said, like this place. Okay, great. Welcome to West Branch. And I guess on the same note, I not airport wise, but I went to was up in Mile last week, and I saw we stopped at McDonald's, get a cup of coffee, and some guys in suits come walking out. I thought it was the CIA, but they got in a car with a SVSU license plate, so I couldn't help but say something to them and told them about West Branch and we need. Kirtland came in, deserted us. Why don't you, SVSU, come up and talk to us? Put a school in up here. So just trying to sell the county.
Thank you, sir. Anything else?
No, that's enough.
Okay.
You've heard enough for me.
I attended my first 911 meeting last night. I'm gonna enjoy that committee. Wasn't a whole lot that took place. It was a fairly quick meeting, but good news is they give an overtime staffing report at every meeting. And there was absolutely zero overtime last month, which what they've been shooting for. Which was really refreshing. They really complimented Jesse on that. Jesse's also been asked to serve on the state 911 board, which I think she said there's like 3 to 4 meetings a month down towards Lansing. She's agreeable to do that. There were some questions about with their an individual that their new contract impacted, so a fairly quick decision was made on that. I can't give a whole lot of details, but it's going to be a very interesting board. And I think our committee, and I think I am going to enjoy it and have a lot to learn there. So they seem very efficient, very efficient. Richland, I attended Richland. It's been a very busy 2 weeks. Richland Township. Not a whole lot there. They're looking at taking some trees down in the cemetery campground. Getting a new lawnmower, getting everything nearing ready for the summer. They discussed the fire board. There's a fire department over there and it's shared between Richland and Logan. And that's part of Logan's issues recently is who's one of the members' terms were expiring and who they were going to appoint. And so Richland took up some of their time discussing that situation. Hopefully that's been resolved. Not a whole lot else in Richland. Briefly on the roads that the road commission is going to match 50-50 again this year. But that was really it there. Also attended the village. They have some new board members. They have a full board for the first time in quite some time. So that's new and exciting. They are looking, their biggest issue over there is ordinance. They did seek approval back in April to hire a lawyer, but then nothing really became of it. So now they are moving forward with that. They have some campers, the south side of town through there that people are living in and they would like to move forward with. Logan Township, I attended that meeting. Jocelyn was not there, so you abandoned me this time. Hopefully they got a resolution. Again, most of the issues was the fire board appointment. Ended up at the end of that meeting, one of the individuals in the audience volunteered. So then they made a motion to appoint that individual to the fire board. So then that passed. So they've had a special meeting. They had a special meeting prior to that with the fire board's lawyer present, but Logan Township's lawyer was not present. I'm sure there's gonna be more to come on that, but hopefully there is some resolutions and hopefully the board is moving forward. I will keep you informed of that. I was not able to attend Hill nor Churchill because Churchill is the same night as Richland, so I'm gonna rotate between the months there. I also had a Michigan Works meeting. They talked about they're getting some funding as well from the opioid. What their plans are with that. We were supposed to have our audit report, but the auditor unfortunately did not show up. There was some bad weather that morning. There's also a new individual from Roscommon County that's on that board, a new commissioner. And we also had, what did I miss? An insurance committee meeting. Tim, Brenda, or excuse me, Commissioner Simmons and I met with an individual that is very similar to Aflac, a representative. So Tim, you can probably give a little bit more information. It was a very informative, good meeting.
It's a voluntary benefit program. So like what Aflac is, if an employee wants to sign up for it, they can, but it's possibly with payroll deduction, but otherwise it's the total cost is on the employee. The committee concluded that before we go any further with this, we should probably meet with the employees to find out if there is any interest in moving forward. So we do have a meeting scheduled with the department heads and the union reps on Tuesday, where the rep will come in and talk about the programs that they offer. And there is quite a menu of things they offer. We're going to start slow. I mean, just kind of offer things that we are already familiar with. But they do offer a number of other things like life insurance and long-term disability that are worth exploration moving forward. And I think it is very important in cases like this that we do have the buy-in of the employees so that they understand what it is. If the employees aren't interested, there's no point in the board even pursuing it any farther. If they are interested, then the agencies are going to have minimum enrollment requirements, and we'll have to see if we have enough people who are interested to sign up. It does appear pricing not only competitive, but it's far better than what we're getting through Aflac right now for the same product. So that definitely, I think, will get the attention of the employees. So we'll see where it goes. It's kind of exciting. Since then, I've also had another agency contact me saying, we offer some of these things. So we may have a situation where we're going to have to vet different vendors and go through our normal process to see who we want to use. So I was very pleasantly surprised. They knocked on our door and said, what do you think? So that's where we are with it. So more to come. After Tuesday, I think I'll have a better idea of whether it's something that you want to pursue any further.
More options for employees, no cost to the county.
Right.
Definitely a significant benefit. Was surprised we've seen the amount of employees that utilize Aflac currently, which was quite low, to my surprise. So there'll be more to come on that. Commissioner Scott, did you
How
want
was
to?
the hunt?
Pardon me?
Since it affected the timing of our meeting and stuff, we should at least know the results.
The hunt was very good, thank you.
Did you win?
We did not, but we did very well. It was very cold.
Close?
We did very well. Me and my kids.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Any,
Great to know we got killers of
anything, I think you had something you wanted, Commissioner Simmons.
Yes, when you're talking about Parks and Rec, it was brought to my attention last night, West Branch Township. That West Branch Township would like to take over the archery range there on 55 and Dam Road. And they would take full maintenance, full everything on it. And they have frisbee golf there too. I don't know how many acres it was. I can't remember how many acres.
That's part of that properties that we're currently discussing at the Field of Dreams, correct? Isn't that all part of it?
I think so. I wrote it down. I want to make sure it is.
All of that, yes.
Commissioner Simmons, that's what we're talking about, that properties. That's been under discussion.
All right.
Talked about it in the last meeting.
That's committee of the whole. It was talked about the high banks and that properties you're talking about.
I just remember about the high banks. Okay,
Yep, the Field of Dreams is all part of all of that.
okay.
Okay. Item 14, general public comment. Any general public comment on in the room? Any subject matter? Any public comment on the phone? No public comment on the phone? Item 15?
Yeah.
Motion from Commissioner Mayhew.
Yeah,
Can I have a support?
yeah.
Support from Commissioner Scott. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, meeting adjourned at 10:18. See, you can read my mind.